Salutations, Scoob Believer. Do you have a dream of becoming an entrepreneur, but don't know where to start or even what to do? Where can I gather information quickly about what's in my zone of genius? Don't worry, Scoob Believers. I got you covered. Go to tuepodcast.net/AI prompt and check out an amazing set of AI prompts that will give you ideas, information, and articles to help you get across that start line. Once again, go to tuepodcast.net/AI prompt to get you started now. Good luck, Scoob Believer. Hey, Scoob Believers, just a quick warning. The audio on this wasn't that great. It tends to fade in and out a little bit, so hang in there with it. There's a lot of great information, but just wanted to give you a fair warning. Hello there, Scoob Believer. Hey, if you're anything like me, I am just so tired of going from screen to screen to screen, trying to figure out my analytics for all of my social medias and trying to figure out where I can put any and all my energies to get as much reach as I can. Well, I think I've finally found the solution. Elementary analytics. That's right, elementary analytics. Now, at a single press of a button, I can see all my social media analytics from Google to Twitter to Facebook, all my important information all on one screen. All on one screen. Can you believe it? And if you really needed to, you could print charts for any possible meetings you might have. If you want to learn more about this amazing program, go to tuepodcast.net/EA for a 14-day free trial with no credit card needed. That's tuepodcast.net/EA for a 14-day free trial. Try it right now and see what it can do for you. Undiscovered entrepreneur, don't be late for number 58. Ugh.
You really do have to define, where are you going to put the best use of your time? And so what we've learned about, we call them income producing activities. It may not be that you're going to get the check that day, but the activities that I'm doing right now further down on the calendar are going to pay back to us in some way, shape, or form. So it is an investment. It's not just time wasted or time spent, but it's an investment that's going to pay off in the future.
Welcome to The Undiscovered Entrepreneur, the podcast where brand new entrepreneurs come to life and could quite possibly be discovered. Join me, DJ Scoob, and the rest of the Scoob Believers as we help these new businesses become a reality. And now, away we go! Hello, Scoob Believer, and welcome to another episode of The Undiscovered Entrepreneur, and it's me, DJ Scoob, coming at you on whatever device you happen to be listening on. Well, today we have a fantastic episode for you, but before I do anything else, I want to make sure I announce our Scoob Believer of the Week. Now, if you want to be the Scoob Believer of the Week, interact with me on any of my social platforms, whether it be TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, any of those. You interact with me and you have a chance to be the Scoob Believer of the Week. So today's Scoob Believer of the Week is Justin Wright. Now, Justin Wright actually went into my TikTok and liked every single one of my videos. The interesting about Justin, he actually does not have a business or his own entrepreneurship adventure, but that's okay. Sometimes people just like to listen to podcasts and like specific things that they hear. Thank you, Justin, for being a Scoob Believer and being the Scoob Believer of the Week. Congratulations. All right. Our guest for this week is Jude. Now, Jude has been called the fitness pastor. I did a little bit of a story behind that one. I can't wait for you to hear about that. Anyway, he has some amazing stories and some great information. And we go into a nice little analogy for you about growing your business. It's fantastic. Can't wait for it. It's going to be towards the end, so hang in there, but it's going to be awesome. So let's listen to Jude. Salutations, Scoob Believers, and we are here again with another amazing brand spanking new entrepreneur. Today we are here with Jude. Hey, Jude, how you doing?
Scoob, how are you doing? I'm doing great.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for agreeing to be on the Undiscovered Entrepreneur. I didn't really want to say, hey, Jude, but it kind of came out that way. Okay, so I just have one really serious question to ask you. Okay, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Are you a Scoob believer?
Well, of course I am. Who wouldn't be a Scoob believer?
All right. Jude, thank you so much for being a Scoob believer. I really appreciate you. All right. So, Jude, just tell me a little bit about who you are and what your business is and how long you've kind of actually been doing it for.
Yeah, you bet. So, again, my name is Jude. My handle, so to speak, is called the Fitness Pastor, and I earned that in a previous life when I was working in healthcare. So, large part of my responsibilities was to run and direct research projects that would validate alternative and complementary care practice, things like massage, acupuncture, mindfulness meditation, validate those so that they would be brought into mainstream medicine as legitimate pieces of care. And in the midst of one of our research projects, a woman came up to me and one of the cohorts I was working with, she goes, Jude, you remind me of being a fitness pastor. And I just thought that was the coolest thing ever. And when I told my wife about it, she's like, oh my gosh, you've got to keep that name. And so, I'm not smart enough to think of things like that. And so I decided to keep it. So I retired. It'll be, this November 1st, it'll be 2 years. I retired from corporate healthcare. I now journeyed into the world of entrepreneurship. I'm a God Talks coach. So I work with people, helping them hear the voice of God, whether it be for life, for business, for relationships, anything that ilk. We also, with my wife, we're business partners in real estate, and we also do direct sales with some nutrition technology. So we're pretty diverse. We're pretty busy. We're empty nesters, but it keeps our blood pumping.
Well, it definitely gives you something to do. That's for sure, especially empty nesters. I mean, after the kids are gone, it's like, okay, now what? You don't want to get too bored. But I like how you
We're definitely not bored.
Oh, yeah. Well, for sure. But I like the fact that you kind of found this niche for yourself, and the Fitness Pastor, that's actually pretty cool. I mean, I'm kind of the same way too. It's like, well, that sounds good. I'm just going to stick with that. That's how I came up with DJ Scoob. But it's like somebody said, hey, DJ Scoob, what do you think? I want to thank Josh for that. Thank you, Josh, for giving me that name. That was awesome. Anyway, so that's awesome. That's really great. And I really love what you're doing. We've talked a little bit before, and it's so amazing what you've been up to.
Yeah. It's almost leaves me speechless. I had the opportunity to work with so many people and doing in so many different things. I get to serve different people in different ways. My faith is a very, foundational part of my life. And the fact that I can express that in the things that I do. Sometimes people, when they retire, it's like, well, I go find the rocking chair, the swing on the front porch, and they just kind of gaze into nowhere land. But for me, it's not about retiring. It's about refiring. I really believe God has placed more things on my heart to do. And that's where we're at right now.
Yeah, that's the thing about, I want to do this until I fall over dead. I mean, that's for sure.
Right. Yeah.
Right? I mean, I don't want to stop doing it, because if I stop doing this or I stop doing whatever it is, whether it be work or whatever, I just feel like I'm not using it. So I'm probably going to lose it. And I really don't want to lose it because I love what I'm doing. So I want to do it forever. So,
I mean, if you love it, why stop?
Exactly.
That part never made sense to me.
Well, some people say, okay, I've done my due. I'm just going to sit back and do nothing. I was like, why? There's so much more we can do. We got so much time on our hands.
Oh, yeah. Meaning and purpose can change throughout life. And so, I mean, if you're meant to golf 18 holes every day after retirement for the rest of your life, more power to you. But, that's just not my wheelhouse. So,
yeah, well, I don't have to worry about that. I couldn't golf if my life depended on it. So it's okay. Miniature golf, maybe, but not golf.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I was going to say.
I would really like to know what kind of made you start this. I mean, you kind of gave us a little bit, a kind of a short version of how things got started, but what was the catalyst that actually, besides getting the name, obviously, and kind of making things go, what was the catalyst that got you started?
Right. Well, my wife and I were actually a blended family. And when I met her, she was widowed. And she was always a serial entrepreneur. Her husband at the time was also an entrepreneur. And so it was kind of in her blood. It wasn't so much a part of my DNA, but being around here, I found that there is a part of me that was tickled by that and was wanting to explore it. And so I was very supportive of her, as I was working in my corporate job and trying to help her facilitate that, from her home. And now that I am not going into a brick and mortar building, I'm actually staying at home. And I can actually, start to explore what that means for me and how to really learn about myself. I find out things about myself as a part of this. And like I say, it's almost like the people just come to you. You're like literally attracting people. You're not trying to, knock on the door and, I don't want to say scam or spam, but you're not cold calling or anything. It just, when it's a part of you, that's a part of your DNA or your makeup, it just is a natural part of conversation. And, if you don't, customer, you develop, and it's a great way to live. It's not all easy, but I just love that part of it. The part that I get to meet people. My wife and I always talk about vitamin C, which is connection or community. And we get to do a lot of that. I just love that part of it.
I love that vitamin C thing. That's pretty awesome because that's really what it's all about too. Connection and community.
That's right. Yeah. We are meant to be, no matter how much we develop ourselves, there's no point in holding that lamp under a bushel. And so we need to bring that to the world, to the people around us. And, that's what our mission is about.
Awesome. I've noticed the same thing too when I do my podcast, where I seem to attract a lot more positivity to me than I did ever before. People like yourself or anybody else that's been on my podcast, a lot of those people that came up to me organically saying, hey, I want to be on your show, or they just happen to be friends of mine that I came across, said, hey, I can have you on my podcast. What do you think? And it just seems like the more and more I do this, the more and more awesome people that I get to meet. And it's nice to have the support of your other half. I mean, that's a really big thing. A lot of spouses don't understand what we go through as entrepreneurs or what goes through our head. Sometimes it's even frustrating, right? But at the same time, if they understand or if they've experienced entrepreneurship, they kind of understand what's going on. It's really awesome to have that kind of support.
Yeah. Unity in the household is huge. Even if your partner isn't an entrepreneur at all, just giving you the green light is huge, because like you said, it can be a weird, wide, wacky ride. And sometimes you just never know when these things are going to, explode. You don't know when the downtime is going to be. I mean, you do take control of your business and you do try to make it your own. But circumstances being as they are, opportunities present themselves at the most unlikely times. And, we have to be ready for that. So if you have a spouse who's saying, go ahead, I get it, I understand, it just makes it all the better.
It really does. And the thing is, we do have to be ready for those ups and downs as entrepreneurs because we don't really know what's going to happen next. It's not like we have a set paycheck day to day or month to month or week to week or however it is you get paid. We don't know what's going to happen, but having that support kind of makes up for that, I think.
It certainly does. My wife and I, if we feel like things are sliding or getting out of control, we always remind ourselves, we're the employee at night, or excuse me, we're the boss at night. So we set the schedule for the next day and then we become our own employee the next day. We actually execute that schedule. So just having that mindset of, discipline's kind of an overused word, I think, but, just having the wherewithal to set a schedule and be, having the integrity of following through on that schedule and, being in control of your business. Even if you're an employee, there's going to be things that come up that maybe distract you from doing whatever your quote tasks are. Those things are inevitable, but still, I think with an entrepreneur, you do have to have the wherewithal to understand, what is most important thing right now, and to actually do that.
Well, keeping our focus on, what's next and, what's the most important thing to work on, scheduling it that way kind of keeps us moving forward as far as that's go. We got to prioritize these things and know where our next move is going to be. So when it comes to those downtimes, we have a set plan for that time where, if you don't, it can be frustrating because things are kind of on the downside and you kind of start looking a little bit bleak. But as long as you have that plan set, at least you know what to look for next.
Yeah. I always liken it like sand in an hourglass. You can look at it and say, oh, the sand's going through the hourglass. It's just marking time. Or sand's going through the hourglass. Can't stop it. And I'm losing, ground. But the sand's going to go through the hourglass no matter what. So how do we make the most of the time that we have?
Exactly. And it's what we do with that time is what makes us who we are. I mean, do we sit back and like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore and just watch it happen? Or do we say, oh, I'm running out of time. Let's do something about this today.
That's right.
All right.
Got to take control of your business.
Exactly. All right. So what I'd like to know at this point is every entrepreneur, new or old or long or short, always comes through some pitfalls and problems that they've had in their experience. So I know you haven't been doing this for really too long, but do you have any pitfalls or problems that you've kind of encountered up to this point?
I would say kind of what we were just discussing before is, if you don't have a schedule that, the schedule is going to steamroll you, because things that are important all of a sudden become an emergency. And, we don't want everything to be an emergency. You really do have to define, where are you going to put the best use of your time? And so what we've learned about, we call them income producing activities. It may not be that you're going to get the check that day, but the activities that I'm doing right now further down on the calendar are going to pay back to us in some way, shape, or form. So it is an investment. It's not just time wasted or time spent, but it's an investment that's going to pay off in the future. So I think for me, having that mindset so that I stay disciplined in doing those daily activities helps remember it's just like a dollar investment. I'm going to get a return on that if I put in the work for it right now. So again, taking control of your business and making sure that the activities that you're doing, if not going to pay you that day, by the end of the day, is an investment that's going to pay you down the line.
Exactly. It gives a whole new meaning. Gives a whole new meaning to time is money. You know what I mean? When I first heard that, I was like, okay, time is money. It's spend time money. But time is the one precious thing we have as entrepreneurs that we can either spend or not spend and have a return on or not a return on. It's made a whole different process of my thinking when I think about time as money now.
Right. And the way I think of it too is like, if I'm a farmer, I can plant one seed or I can plant 10 seeds, but it's not about the seeds. It's about the plants that come from those seeds, which create seeds for more plants. So again, it's really how am I thinking about what it is that I'm doing so that I'm not just doing a transactional thing here right now, but it's what am I taking this time to do that's going to pay off in the future times 10, times 100, or times 1,000, right? And so I think as entrepreneurs, you get so caught up because you can be kind of isolated sometimes. You can feel, like you're really by yourself, you're on your own, and you just get so caught up in the to-do list. So you feel like it's a great day if I just got through half of my to-do list. And we can kind of just flip that into, I'm a farmer, I'm planting seeds, but it's not about the seed. It's about the plant that's going to create more fruit that's going to bear more fruit, that's going to create even more seeds. Really changes how you look at what it is that you're doing and how you maybe pay attention to what it is that you're doing.
Exactly. It's just what we do at that time, right? Just like we said before. I'm definitely going to clip that seed part out. Boy, I like that. That's a great analogy. I love that. We all, as entrepreneurs, have somebody that we look up to, have somebody that influences what we do. Do you have somebody like that in your life? I mean, I'd say your wife, but we already talked about her. So, but I mean, do you have anybody that you look up to as like maybe a coach or something like that?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people that I look for different parts of my life, whether it be a character trait or the way they handle themselves or, anything along those lines. From a business perspective right now, a guy that means the world to me is, his name is Ed Rush. He's a former Marine fighter pilot. He's a successful businessman. He lives in California, and he's developed this God Talks program that I'm, intensely and totally involved with right now. And I just really appreciate his ability and his wisdom from a perspective of business, but not just business, but faith-based business. And it really spoke to me because, being in the corporate world that I was in, people knew my faith was important, but still there was a little bit of a gag order on how you could express yourself, and now that I'm kind of free of that restriction, I can speak, more authentically,
Yeah.
I guess you could say, without fear or reservation of, how people respond. And again, it just helps me to be able to attract people rather than trying to somehow artificially market or artificially sell to somebody. Makes sense?
No, it makes perfect sense. I mean, authenticity itself is very important in entrepreneurship. People are going to want to know who you are, and they're going to want to know the real you. Because if you go in there and then portray yourself as something else, they could literally smell that a lot of times. I mean, I know it sounds kind of weird, but a lot of people, especially nowadays, when all they have to do is hit a few buttons on a keyboard and realize exactly who you are.
That's right. We're totally out there, especially if you're putting yourself out there on social media, to be one persona on social media and then behaves totally differently. Even if it was in this interview situation, that you're right. I think people smell that in a heartbeat, and they could be 100 miles away and they smell it. And so, I'm not putting on airs with people. I'm not, faking anything. I try to be as transparent as I can. I allow people to ask, whatever that they want so that they get to know me, because I agree with you, Jesse. I just think, if they don't even remotely like you, or do you think they're even going to want to do business with you? If you're lying to them, they're probably not going to like you for very long.
Yeah.
Be truthful up front, right?
Exactly. It makes things a lot easier in the end. To be truthful with people and be transparent, like you say. So good stuff, Jude. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right. This is a question I really like asking new entrepreneurs because it kind of makes you think a little bit. So I'm going to test you a little here. When will you know you've made it? When will you've made it to that point where you say, this is exactly where I wanted to be, and this is exactly what I wanted to have? What's that look like to you, Jude?
That's an awesome question. Probably one of the best questions I've ever been asked. For you. Well done. So I would say when I was given the name, quote unquote, given the name fitness pastor, that was kind of the start of it for me, because I really felt like it was integrating who I felt I was with what it was I was actually doing with people. And at that time, I wasn't, like I said, being in the corporate world, you couldn't really express yourself, as fully as maybe you thought you should or could or whatever. But I would say now, now that I'm out of that life, people still, when they hear fitness pastor, it's a cute name and everything, and they like it. And I tell the story and they like the story. But for me, it's when somebody feels, if I've helped somebody connect themselves to their own meaning and purpose, that's a win. And if I had a small part to play in that, wow. Then I really feel like God used me in a way that suits my meaning and purpose. So it's just a win-win. And, to be paid on top of that is kind of like icing on the cake. But just connecting people with meaning and purpose, which means I'm fulfilling my meaning and purpose, that's the it for me.
Fantastic. That's actually great to hear because, a lot of people that get asked that question, it turned kind of to physical things, cars, houses, or whatever. But I mean, yours and mine are actually very similar. As long as I'm helping somebody else, that really does my heart good. When I get that feeling that I know that I've helped them connect to something that made it better for them, I know in my heart, they're going to go out and do the same thing for somebody else, and so on and so on and so on. And that's how we're going to change the world in our own way. So when I feel that, that's when I know I've made it.
It's like that seed thing, you planted a seed and that person's going to be starting to plant seeds too. So yeah, I love that. That's great.
And we can always give a few of those seeds away too.
Yeah, you can eat the fruit that those seeds come from. You can plant the seeds that come from that, so you can harvest it. So there's a lot of things that can be done. You can store the seeds and wait for later. So there's a whole bunch of things that can be done with it as a farm. Awesome.
This whole entrepreneur thing turned into growing stuff. So I like it. I think I hear a theme happening here. So
there you go. It's awesome.
All right, great. All right. So if you happen to meet someone that wants to do the same entrepreneur adventure as you, just like say you happen to run into them and they say, hey, I want to do something similar to you, what advice would you give them? What steps would you have them take to get started?
So there's another good question. I'm actually asked that, I don't want to say a lot, but, with a little bit of regularity. So what I would ask them is, what is their goal? Kind of like what you just asked me. What is it going to take for you to be satisfied or fulfilled from a vocational perspective? And do you think what you do would align with who you are in a way that would make you want to make that a business model for yourself, or at least part of a business model? I think some people, they get caught by the hot, white, shiny thing, and they start chasing the white, hot, shiny thing, not knowing what it is that they're chasing. It's just a white, hot, shiny thing. And so if you can find a way to help them identify what it is that makes that white, hot, shiny thing so appealing, that the other hot, white, shiny things aren't as appealing, and they really get focused on what it is that drives them, that they can focus on that. That doesn't always happen in a single conversation. And it does take some reflection, I think, for people, because our attention spans are so short.
That's for sure.
It's a microwave society. We expect things to happen instantaneously. And as you know, Jesse, this is not a quick, rich thing. You need some time to get some traction and to have those seeds take root, so to speak, and develop a business that's really going to grow.
Exactly. That's good advice. That's really good advice. Yeah, we're still going with the seed thing, folks, but we do have to take root, right? I like that. That's good stuff, right?
Now taking root, we're not just seed in the ground. We're going to take root.
Told you there's a theme in there somewhere. Okay. No, that's good, Jude. I really appreciate everything that you said there. And yeah, if you ever come across somebody like that, give them that advice. That's good stuff. I know you haven't been doing this very long, but if I wanted to hire your services, but I have two other people doing something very similar to you and offering the same kind of money, what would set you apart from everybody else in your business?
Well, the first thing I would say is I don't talk about money. I talk about value. And so if it's not God talks, with due respect to any other coaches, I would say it's probably not the same thing, because in terms of the way I approach people with the God Talks program, it's not a directive program like what is common with most other coaching platforms. What we're literally doing is trying to align people to hear God's voice in their lives and then to help them hear it so that they follow it. So it sounds kind of out there, but God is always speaking to us. And like we talked about before, in society, we're so distracted by things. If we can remove some of the distractions and provide an opportunity for people to listen and then to follow what is being spoken to them, we believe that their life is going to be enriched in a deeply impactful way.
Listen to that little voice, because it is trying to tell you something. And 9 times out of 10, it's something that's really good for you that you should do. I mean, a lot of people will be shut out to that voice. You know what I mean? They'll hear it and like, oh, no, that's not for me or whatever, when it's really something they really need to at least, take a shot at or start it or something like that, just to see if it really is going to be for you or not. I mean, if you don't take that shot, then you're going to be like, why didn't I? And then you're going to have regret, and then it's going to be too late. Time is short.
It is. I don't want to get hung up on the word obedience, but just the following through on what it is that you're hearing is a big deal. And if you deny that by even 10 days or 10 months, it diminishes the impact of what it is you could have had if you said yes to it right away. And that's not to say you're not going to have impact anymore, but if you can imagine the impact that was possible had you said yes in the beginning, you can't even put words onto that. How can you even put a dollar value on that? If it's a relationship, somebody close to you or somebody who you want to be close to you. You can't put a financial dollar amount on that. Saying yes when you've been given the download, so to speak, is really important. We do say no a lot, and God, He's inviting us to say yes to things. And we distract ourselves, as you said, Jesse, to the point where we just can't even hear, see, feel, or sense, that message is coming through.
And that's why it's important to do things now, just like you're saying. Actually, we're going to say it again, Scoob Believers. I can, I am, I will, and I'm doing it today. That's my tagline.
Well,
yeah, thank you. That was actually from my son when he was 6, and we've carried it together since then. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool. So yeah, do things now while you're thinking about it, because I mean, if you wait too long, either you're going to forget about it and not do it, or you're going to wish you started it back then. And that's kind of a sad thing. So let's do it now. All right. So here's my favorite question, but I did steal it from another podcast. So sorry, everybody. So yeah. What is one question you wish I would have asked you, but didn't? I always miss one really good question that everybody's ready for, and I never get to ask that question. So what is that question for you, Jude?
So you're asking me what I wish you would have asked me?
Correct.
Okay. I just want to make sure I got it. Oh, that is really cool. What took you so long?
Oh, well, sorry about that. I'll get it sooner.
Oh, that's the question I wish you would have asked me. What took you so long?
What took you so long? I'm sorry. What? Okay. So what's the answer to that? What took you so gosh darn long there, Jude?
Stubbornness, I think. And just kind of what we were talking about before is, sometimes you are in disbelief about what it is that you're being called to do. And you're like, oh, that guy, really? I don't, so we rationalize, we try to discern, what the real meaning is. We get overly spiritual with it. And again, all we need is a simple yes, rather than trying to analyze, reanalyze, cross-analyze, ask a friend about it, go to therapy about it, whatever it is. Just say yes. So, what took you so long, Jude? Why didn't you do this sooner? It's like, well, here I am. That's all I can say.
Yeah, no. And that's a lot of people actually ask that question of themselves. And sometimes, especially the way you're describing in this particular point, imposter syndrome is a lot of what what stops us from doing anything. Cause it's like, who am I to do this? Just like you said, I'm not over-educated like some of these other people are. These people have been doing it longer than I have. Why would they listen to me? But, instead of saying that, we should say, well, let's just get started. I mean, maybe I do know more. Let's see what happens when we put it out there. Maybe people will actually listen to me. There's always somebody a little bit behind me. Somebody's always 10% behind you that wants to learn what you know now. Right. So be that person that they learn from. All right. So that's good. Thank you very much. That was awesome. What took you so long? Okay. All right. So what I like to do with all my guests is get a 6-month goal. So I'd like to know where you see yourself and your company in the next 6 months. What goals have you set for yourself?
So the goals I have for myself are to have 10 qualified or quality clients that I'm working with. Each one of my clients, we have a 6-month relationship that we develop with them. And so I'd like to have 10 people. I've at 2 right now. So I am very interested in cultivating that and just seeing how that works for me right now. Like I said, we have some real estate that we're doing. We're actually sweat equity on some of it. I want to get the sweat equity part of it done.
Right.
Which will free up my time for some other things. As enjoyable as that is, that's not my wheelhouse or my skill set. So it's a slog for me, but I put my time in the way I'm supposed to with our partners. Stick to my agreements with that. And then we have some financial targets with our nutritional technology that we're trying to hit too. And I believe that, we're actually pretty close to that. Mm-hmm. Especially now through the holidays is a time where we can really gain some traction in finishing that off as well.
Awesome. All right. So 10 clients. We'll go ahead and count the 2 that you got already towards that 10. Okay.
Here we go.
All right.
Yes, thank you, sir.
All right. So, and then the real estate thing, I really like to see you quit sweating that equity. Yeah. Let's get that done. So what I'd like to do with you, Jude, is in the next 6 months, I want to have another follow-up conversation with you, just like we're having today in 6 months. And we're going to hold you accountable for those 10 clients and that real estate. Okay. Is that all right with you?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much. All right, Jude, this is your time to shine. I'd like you to talk about your company and what you do and how we get a hold of you. Okay. Ready, set, go.
Okay. So again, I'm Jude Sullivan, the fitness pastor and a God Talks coach. If you want to reach me, you can email me at 44heyjude@gmail.com, or you can text me at 608-575-5702 and mention God Talks. Again, we have a 6-month coaching platform, which provides you with every other week sessions with me where we introduce you to ways to communicate with God, whether it relates to life, business, relationships, or whatever it is that's on your heart. In developing a coaching relationship with us, I'll also throw in 2 free tickets to either a live or a virtual God Talk event, which is valued at $500. So if you're interested in any of that, the phone call, the text, or the email is not any sort of a guarantee that will, follow through, but at least we can have a conversation to see if this is something that would be.
Awesome. And let's get some kind of way to put the event that you're talking about in my show notes. That way somebody could just click on it and we can get them all signed up for that and see if we can get them that free coaching. Okay.
Yeah. So the coaching, once they have the coaching service dialed in, then we'll send them information about the event.
Perfect. All right. Jude, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you on the Undiscovered Entrepreneur today. I love the analogies that we put together. I'm going to be clipping all those out for shorts just so people can enjoy those right up front. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you,
all
Jesse.
Right.
Appreciate your time, man.
My pleasure. My pleasure. All right, Scoob believers, stay tuned for the wrap up. All right, everybody. Have a good evening. Bye-bye, everybody. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Jude. Wow, what an amazing conversation. Had so many great insights, and I love the analogies that he had. We talked a lot about seeds and how that all worked out. That was really cool, so I enjoyed that a lot. But he had a lot going for him. I'm really excited to see if he has those 10 clients that we were talking about, and we get that sweat equity taken care of. Jude, thank you so much for being on the Undiscovered Entrepreneur. I see some great things happening. We're going to follow up with you in those 6 months and see how things turned out. All right. So a little more about me, what's going on. This will be, I'm not exactly sure when this recording is going out, but on November 16th will be my 2nd year podiversary. So I've actually been podcasting for 2 years. What? Are you kidding me? I can't believe it's been 2 years for me to do this podcast. It's been a phenomenal ride. I really know that we're going to have a lot more years to come with some fantastic entrepreneurs, people that we're going to help along the way, and some new experiences, including something I've come up with, and I'm trying to get it launched before January 1st. I wanted to start the new year with another segment of the Undiscovered Entrepreneur called Undiscovered Advice. But I need your help. That's right. I need you out there. If you can please go to tuepodcast.net/advice. Any entrepreneurs out there that want to give some amazing advice, go there. That goes to a speak pipe, which is kind of like a voicemail thing for about 3 to 5 minutes. Tell me your best advice. And that could possibly end up being on my new segment of Undiscovered Entrepreneur Advice. So if you can do that, I would really super appreciate it. I'm trying to get 50 before the end of the year. So let's do that. Another question I'd like to ask you, my listeners, is what entrepreneurs would you like to hear about? I want to start segmenting them a little bit. So if you want to hear more about bookkeepers, then let me know in my social medias or anywhere like that. If you want to hear more about physical product entrepreneurs, I want to start segmenting them, maybe putting them in segments of 3, still kind of in the works, but you are my listeners. So you are the ones that are going to tell me what I need to put on my show. Another thing, I'm still trying to get to Podfest. Things are getting a little bit tight. Still need to try to put the money together. Do it. Please, please, if you can go ahead and contribute, I guess you could say, to me trying to get me to Podfest. I got some big things happening, but I need to be able to go, and I need your help to go. So please contribute to my trip to Podfest in Florida. Go to tuepodcast.net and then click on Become a Contributor, where you can contribute $1. I don't care, 50 cents, whatever. If there's something you would like me to make for you that you want to buy from me, I will do it. Whatever I need to do to make this happen. And another thing too, I'm trying to get done before the beginning of the year, or at least started, is Entrepreneur in a Box. So what this is basically entrepreneurs that want to start an entrepreneur adventure and a podcast. So if you're an entrepreneur that wants to start a podcast, or if you want to start an entrepreneur adventure with a podcast, I'm building a box with all the necessary tools inside this box. There's more information coming for that, and I might be starting a Kickstarter on that too. But it depends on you. It depends on my listeners. It depends on if you want to actually have something like this or not. So I got a lot of stuff happening here, all goals before the end of the year. So let's see if we can make all that happen. All right, Scoob Believers, thank you so much for another great episode. And I'm looking forward to having you listen to my next episode, which is a coaching. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night. Bye-bye. Hello there, DJ Scoob here. And I just want to personally say thank you for listening to my program. I really hope you learned something. Tune in 2 weeks to listen to another brand new entrepreneur. And remember, I can, I am, I will, and I'm doing it today.
Well, like for me, like my left foot always bounces on the tempo. Like it's like a full body thing for me.
Well, that's when you're in the flow. That's when you're in that zone. You can actually.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
So.
Dude, I would give up podcasts and go on tour in a minute. Like right now. For sure. But maybe someday. Actually, I hadn't played in years.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I just kind of started picking it up again like a month ago.
There we go.
I go through ebbs and flow. There we go. There it is.
That's it.
There it is. That's it right there.
Yeah,
boom.
Buddy.
There you go, bud.
Oh, that sounds so great.
It's cool.
Oh,
yeah, man. Dude, that's great. Straight up. That's a D chord. That chord is used in so many different songs, man.
Golly. I'm like about
That's
to cry
awesome.
right now, dude. This is my first chord like ever.
You have learned your first chord. Where's the applause?
I don't have the applause button.
What you can do too, like if you just look up C chord tablature, it'll show you how to kind of.
As a worker of 2 full-time jobs, running a podcast and coaching, every minute counts in my day-to-day. It's hard to be consistent in any of my social medias. And at this point, I cannot hire a social media manager. Pinnacle AI to the rescue! I've been using Pinnacle AI for a couple of weeks now and seeing big improvements in my outreach and consistency in all my social medias. Do you want to save time and increase your productivity too? Go to tuepodcast.net/AI for more information. Save yourself time and grow your brand. Try it now and see what it can do for you.